June 27th. Annie, would you do us a bit of roll call?
I will. Online, it looks like we have Andrew Chorney, Carrie Powers, Cheryl Hartman, Chris Lounsbury, Jason Emery, Kelly McGuire, Kyla Lennox, Lisa Shepherd, Melissa Fisher, Samantha Arcand, Shane Stack, Leidy Wagner, and M. Katz. In 206, we have Commissioners Slotnick and Bureau. We have Allison France, and we have Steph Goble and Keegan Flaherty, and we have Dylan Jacks, and myself, Annie Kathy. I think that's it.
All right, thanks, Annie.
You're welcome.
Okay, before we dive in, do we have any public comment on items not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll jump to the consent agenda. Is there anything in there anyone would like to go out and talk about?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, I'll second that. And any public comment? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thanks. Okay, Leidy, you've got our first action item.
Good morning. So this is just approving the contracts for Botany Natural Soap's newest BSTF job creation grant. They were awarded $35,100 to create 9 jobs at their facility out in Bonner.
Wow, how many
Man,
employees do
growing,
they?
growing?
Yeah, they're.
They're expanding quite a bit. This is their 3rd BSTF job creation grant, and the last one was for 3 jobs. The one before that was for 6. I don't have right in front of me how many employees they have, but I believe it's between 15 and 20 at this point. And they were successful in both of their last 2 grants in creating all the jobs out there. And so we're excited that they're continuing to grow, and it sounds like they're expanding their product line and just really have a lot of demand right now. So it's
The most important question is, do they have a bar conditioner to go
not
with their
yet.
bar
Not
shampoo?
yet. I know. I think they did launch the shampoo,
Darn
but I don't think they have the conditioner yet, which I'm also waiting for.
Wow. Okay.
I'm impressed with Bonnie and love their story.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I move to approve the contracts.
All right, do we have any public comment on this? And I'll second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Leidy.
Thank you.
Shane, we're gonna talk about the Lolo Street Bridge.
Yeah, so through our ARPA funding, we were able to hire DJ&A to do some rough design, 30% design on the Lolo Street Bridge. We originally were looking at more of a rehabilitation project rather than a complete reconstruct of the structure. The bridge itself is made, they're called bulb T beams, and if you imagine like a capital T and placing those T's all together, that becomes the deck, and the leg of the T is essentially kind of almost the beam. And the original plan was to just pull those all off because those are starting to deteriorate, and just use the existing end bends and bridge abutments, and then just bring in some new bulb T beams, and then kind of attach the bridge railing and all that stuff to those. What we found, though, as we got into the design of the rehabilitation is that the end bends and the abutments were also pretty deteriorated, and we would be fighting those for the next 50 to 100 years if we just didn't replace them now. So we decided to do more of just a full reconstruct rather than a rehabilitation. So the cost of having that additional design work through DJ&A, amongst other things, was $17,700. So that's what we're here today, is just to do an amendment to the professional services agreement to cover those additional costs in design.
Great. Thanks.
Yep, let's do it right the first time. I move to approve Amendment A.
All right, I'll second that. And any public comment on this? All right, All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Great.
Shane.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Shane.
thank you.
Kelly.
Good morning, everybody. This is a project period extension request for the Bureau of Justice Assistance to extend the 3-year grant that's been awarded to Road Court another year. And if you look at that document, it details some of the reasons why the funds haven't been entirely spent down. And Samantha Arcand is the Road Court coordinator and is here to talk a little bit about what Road Court expects to do in the next year and to answer any of your questions.
Great, thanks. Samantha.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sam. There are a couple reasons that we needed to, or we are requesting to extend this grant. And the first one is because it was our first time, or Road Court's first time using a federal grant. And there was just a ton of curveballs and things that were hard for just your average person to understand. And Kelly so graciously came in to help us, but we actually didn't get funds. We weren't able to draw from our funds until the 5th quarter. So that was a good year that we were unable to use these. If we do get approval to extend the grant, we'll continue to do what we do. We're partnering with municipal court along with justice court to get referrals moved in, and give those individuals an opportunity for some long-term individualized treatment.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. And I didn't quite understand what does 5th quarter mean?
Our grant is a 3-year grant, so it's broken up into quarters. And so we just
I got you now. Okay.
First
yeah,
quarter,
we
second.
weren't able to draw from it until the 5th quarter because of all the loopholes and little
The
things
third.
I missed.
The third half. Okay. No, thank you. And
Thanks,
that's
Sam.
a great program. And
Yeah, it is a really super strong program.
I moved to that the chair approve. Sorry, I moved that the BCC approve the chair to sign the project extension.
I'll second that. And any public comment on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Sam.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kyla.
Good morning, commissioners. I have a board appointment before you. There's Lisa. She just hopped on.
Hey, Lisa.
I will run us through kind of what's going on with the board, and then we will have a little bit of a discussion, I would imagine. So this is for the Missoula Aging Services Governing Board. 4 terms expire June 30th. It's not quite June 30th. Okay. Susan Malek resigned, leaving her regular member seat open. And then we had the 3 other current members. All of them submit letters of interest, and all of them are eligible to continue serving. And that was Deb Lawton, James McKay, and Kristen Page Nye. We did have 5 applicants for the vacancy, and those 5 applicants are Claire Bopp, Pam Gardner, Jim Salisbury, Lynn Riley, and Stuart Strahl. So we have 4 motions for the 4 seats. I'll read the first 3, and then the last one we'll have that discussion. So the first one is to reappoint Deb Lawton to a 3-year term starting July 1st of this year through June 30th, 2026. To reappoint James McKay to a 3-year term, same term, July 1st of this year through June 30th, 2026. And reappoint Kristen Page Nye to the 3-year term through starting July 1st of this year through June 30th, 2026. And then I will leave it open for discussion for that 4th open seat and the 5 applicants who applied.
Can we make a motion to do the reappointments all in one?
Yes.
I will do that. I move to reappoint.
Great. I'll second that. And any public comment? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll discuss. Lisa, what do you think?
Well, first of all, so very much appreciated all of the candidates that applied. They would all bring very valuable skills and perspectives to the MAS board, and appreciated you all having those interviews with them. It was really enlightening. So we met as a governance committee, had a lot of discussion, and after all of that consideration, we really want to recommend that you all appoint Dr. Stuart Straw. He has really extensive, decades-long experience in nonprofit leadership and fundraising, both as an executive and as a board member. He's also had personal experience as a caregiver for multiple relatives with dementia, and he also lives in one of the more rural areas of our county, and we'd really be excited to bring that perspective to our board. And so that's our thoughts and our recommendation.
All right, thanks.
And I completely agree with all of those thoughts and recommendations. Stuart, we're so lucky that Stuart applied.
Okay, I'll second the appointment of Stuart and call for any public comment. All right, all in favor? Aye. Stuart's on the board.
And then
Yeah.
Lisa, you had wanted someone to call Stuart.
Yes,
Or-
if that would, yes, if that's a possibility, we'd, you know, as you know, we have our board meeting today, and I know that we'd love to at least announce to our board members who the new person is, but we didn't want to do that without him knowing that he's the new board member. And so if that was possible, we'd love that.
Kyla, are you able to do that?
Yes, of course, I'm able to call Stuart and let him know, and then I'll reach out to you, Lisa.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks, Kyla.
Of course.
And
thank
Lisa,
you.
I might be late to the board meeting today.
Gotcha. I'll
Okay,
let everybody know.
okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank
All
you.
right, appears we do have some correspondence, and I think Eric Dixon's going to talk about that.
That's Eric on. Shane's still on it.
Chris Lounsbury can play them all.
Play all of them.
Yeah, and Shane is dropped off also, so the letter is,
It's a letter in support of, I believe it's the city, the MPO and MDT are applying for safe streets and roads for all
This is for Reserve
for
Street.
reserves.
This is awesome. This
Yeah, it
is
is awesome.
much
Yeah.
needed and has tons of support. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Sign that
All
bug.
right, okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, now we have a fun part.
Yay!
I'm going to
Keegan
try
and
to
Steph.
share.
Yeah. Thank you. And good morning to everybody online too. Folks that are online, if you would like a folder, because I put together a few, I'm happy to leave some here or drop them off wherever it's most convenient to folks, but I'll pass them out over in
Thank you.
here. Yeah.
Fine.
First big shout out would be to Commissioner Vero, who's in our annual report. So make sure you check out her beautiful photo and amazing supportive quote. But while Annie pulls that up, the reason we want to take advantage of coming to today's meeting is that we have big news at Mountain Home, and something since I've been in the role for 2.5 years has been the heavy pressure on me, which was to find more space so we could expand, so we could serve more families. And so I'm very excited to say a week ago today, Wednesday or Tuesday, we signed the paperwork and got the
Wow.
title to the Hillside Rehabilitation Manor.
Where's that?
The base of South Hills, it's on
Okay.
23rd. I'm excited to bike it. My legs are gonna be burning. But it was unfortunately an assisted living, and we need many of those in the state, but we're just excited that we don't need to start from the ground zero, because we were looking at $12 million to do something like that, 12 to 15. And if a great facility is gonna go to use, if it's not gonna be supporting our elderly, then why not young families? So
How many people could live there?
30.
Whoa.
So I'll give you, and in your folders, just quick orientation, there is Oz Architecture drew up how we plan to use that building at this point, which is just a draft. We have our case for support, and then this beautiful new brochure that Set Point PR helped us put together, that shows the building and some of our statistics and our outcome and the purpose of the building. So, and there will be some redundancies real quick with these slides, so feel like you can go home and digest more of it in a bit, but awesome. You got the next slide? Sure, that'd be great.
Just as a refresher for anyone that doesn't know Mountain Home, we're a 23-year-old local nonprofit started by Laura Snyder here in town. Our mission is to provide safe and nurturing homes for young mothers who can let their children grow up in safe, stable environments and start to thrive while they build those stable homes for themselves out in the community, and exit poverty in a sustainable way. Go ahead. Who do we serve? This gives you a little bit of background. So out of our residential clients, 52% of our young mothers were part of the foster care system themselves. We know this is a chain. We know that we need to break it, and that our state has some of the worst statistics nationally with foster care and the redundancy there. Over 90% of our young mothers experienced a form of trauma and are working hard to overcome that. We've seen human trafficking, we've seen domestic violence, we've seen couch surfing, and abuse on the streets. 39% of our residential clients are Indigenous, so we know that we're seeing a lot of our Native clients reach out for help, and we only expect that to increase. 60% of our moms are from the Missoula County. Oops, and there's a typo. And the majority of the remaining are within of that 40% are from Western Montana. So we really are focusing on our families in our own county. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is in our annual report. It gives you an idea that Mountain Home really focuses on the continuity of care. We are so grateful for partners like the Meadowlark who work very hard, and the POV to get people off the streets immediately. But our model of Mountain Home is how do we build the skill set, give them the wraparound support so that once they're on their own, they stay on their own. So we're looking more at a 1 to 3 year long model. And this is something we're very proud of. It's a unique model in the sense that no one graduates. It's a community-based idea that families have supports through each stage of their lives. But we know that when children are in utero and very young, that is a very vulnerable time of development for that family. So feel free to go through this. I don't want to get stuck on this because this can be a skyscraper elevator speech of everything that we do.
Yeah.
So if you ever have questions about services at Mountain Home or ideas for us, please reach out because we're always looking to expand on these services. But the idea is mom and kid are surrounded by support. So Mountain Home is stepping up. We're answering the call. This just gives a little rationale of why we've been looking for space. But Mountain Home has had a 160% increase in families served since 2019. I will tell you that last week we got a call from a teacher that was out in Florence that no longer can afford housing. And she is a single mom. So this is not just the stereotypes that sometimes we like to pass about who's downtown and doing urban camping. These are actual people in our community. Almost 3,000 single mothers ages 16 to 24 were in the Missoula County alone in 2019. And in 2022, we know that almost 5,000 pregnant and parenting youth are at risk of experiencing homelessness across the state. This can look like it's paycheck to paycheck. This can look like they're already couch surfing. This can look like they're in the back of a car or downtown. Mountain Home has consistently had about 30 to 35 families on a waiting list each day. So again, our model takes longer because we're working really hard to invest in each of those families so they, again, can exit the services and sustain in the community on their own. But what that means is we have every day more families lining up. And so we just knew we needed to expand. We're one of only 3 organizations in the entire state that focuses on these wraparound cares. So we're not just focused on residential, we're focused on healing trauma, we're focused on prioritizing mental and physical health, we're focused on childcare and employment and education supports.
What are the other 3 organizations?
Florence Crittenton and the YWCA in Helena.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, what's the second one?
Florence Crittenton, also in Helena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this just gives you a sky view, a beautiful green spring view of Hillside Manor, which we purchased last Tuesday. Again, very, very, very exciting. I joked that my body went into the day after finals after I signed that. Like, I got the cold, I did everything. But as you can see, it is a large, large T-shaped building with a second building on the campus. It's 5 acres. This is something our families deserve. They have access to hiking trails. They have access to a walkable grocery store. The bus stop is across the street. We can take all of our departments that already exist in services at Mountain Home and just increase the volume. And we're looking at ideas like having mechanics on site. We're talking about
having physicians and nurse practitioners have a physical room there. So it doesn't just have to be telehealth. We can actually have people. I had a dentist reach out recently that said, I'd love to provide pro bono cleanings. So this is something that we can do. One of the beauties about this campus is that we're focused on green space so that our families recognize the importance of our natural environment. We're having conversations about solar on these buildings. And just emphasizing getting children outside and playing. We'll have 2 playgrounds hopefully on this campus as well. But it will help us reduce some of these statistics, which are alarming. Or these are actually some of our good statistics, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, so Mountain Home has historically done things like after 1 year of service, 100% of our clients have had healthcare. 98% go into the community to have stable housing and maintain that housing. 86% of our clients.
98%.
So we're consistently, our care teams are having conversations with developers, landlords. The beauty of this is it's not just on the family. So if a landlord's going, all right, I see you've had like 6 jobs in the last year. What's going on here? You're a single parent. Say, well, I also have Mountain Home. So if you have concerns, you can reach out to Mountain Home. We can help them secure their deposits because we've helped them set up banking and savings and just
Help with housing navigation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, the concept here is it's not just on that family, and it's a win-win for those developers, for those landlords to say, I have multiple sources to talk to make sure I'm getting paid, that the environment's taken care of. We've helped relocate animals when we've needed to. So it really is, it helps the community and it helps these families stay in the community versus dropping back in. Go ahead and jump to the next one. This is the exciting one. I'm trying to hit all seasons here. We have spring and now we have snow. So what we'll be able to do on this campus, we will not only be able to expand and support 30 families. So go back to that waiting list. We're saying 30 to 35. We could make that practically 0 with this facility. And then it would be a total of 41 because we are going to hold on to our South Avenue campus as well. And we'll just be strategic about what services are where.
So you're not selling South Avenue?
No. We are hoping to include 4 emergency flex overflow rooms in that concept so that we can support other organizations like the Meadowlark that are overflowing. And then figure out how we get those families into other wraparound services if residential care. So why we should have them meeting with case managers. We should have them meeting with therapists and employment support, even though they may not be able to live at the Meadowlark or at Mountain Home at that time. Laundry and kitchens in each wings, so that we're still working on those skills for those families. So that again, when they go out, they know how to take care of themselves and they're building up that parenting and evidence-based supports around that. We will plan to put in dorm style showers and baths. So similar to, we think of college where you take your basket down, shower, give your kid a bath, and then back to your room. The rooms right now are designed like a large studio bedroom that we know we can fit beds and cribs into. And then they will have Jack and Jill toilets and they will each have a sink in their room because those are already there. We will have access to shared kitchen spaces. Like I said, there's a lot of peer support that happens at the kitchen table. So them bonding with other families, asking residential care coordinators for help with things, and building off of those skills. I'm really excited. Childcare is obviously a very hot topic in our community. So just being able to say we're not only going to keep our current licensed trauma-informed childcare on the South Avenue, but we will now expand to a 32 and we'll work with 0 to 5 and United Way and really get it to 0 to 5 and get these kids mirroring their peers when they're entering the public school system. Mental health, the big focus here is substance use recovery. And I came with Anna Semple to talk a little bit about this, but our concept is we are applying for federal funds to be able to get licensed to be a 3.1 sober living facility, where we have intensive treatment, but also working about a stable environment and not stripping these families of their children in that process so that we're keeping the families as they're healing together and learning to cope together. But we will hire more licensed addiction counselors and more therapists to be able to support that programming. It is a huge void in the state right now, so being able to do that. And then the community center, I'm really excited about because it's so big, as access to green space. It will have access to a playground and barbecuing facility. But the idea here is so many of these families thrive when you bring the resources to them instead of sending them all over town. And so when we talk to Homeward, when we're talking to Families First about Dialogues for Dads, when we are talking with Friends of the Children and they have kids in their programming, we now have a space that they can come to, and those families can get all those resources just walking down the hall. So we're very excited to expand on that and our partnerships. And then just access to things that we probably all take for granted, like gyms and yoga rooms and things like that, and being able to give a space that those not only focused on basic essential needs, but to be a human being and be able to take care of themselves mentally. Okay, next slide. We know what we do at Mountain Home Works, bottom line, and we're very, very proud of that. We're asking to present on a national platform, and we're definitely a regional leader. So we are hoping to get more and more support. To be totally transparent, we have committed to a $7 million campaign to make all of this happen. And we are already at 40% of that funding, and we have about 2.5 out there in grants pending. So we are just asking for the support of the commissioners, the support of the city, that if you hear opportunities for us to be able to present what we're trying to do for our community, or there's funding in the works coming down the chain, we would just love to be able to be at the table, have that conversation, and have other folks advocating for us. So we are really proud of where we are in that campaign, but could use more bumps to get to the finish line. So we were very lucky in our financing. We have a private financer, so we have a low interest rate, and we have a really great working relationship with the seller, who also wants to meet to talk about a potential gift. And they are renting back the second building for 1 year to 2 years and helping cover some of those finances. Mountain Home's been very strategic in diversifying our funding, and on top of that, finding stability in sustainable funding, such as Medicaid, right, which is looking better.
Medicaid for some of the services.
Yeah, so about 15% of our budget is on Medicaid services with those
Great.
therapeutic services. Yeah. So
Is there Medicaid for sober living?
yes. Yeah, and actually, if we get that 3.1 licensure, we would look at something like about $210 a day per family.
Jeez,
So
that's fantastic.
yeah, and again, it's that we will be meeting, filling a huge hole in the state, not just our county, but also be able to sustain it and
So to
deploy
access
people.
Medicaid for sober living, you have to get some certification or become this 3.1?
Yeah, it's licensure. It's not super painful, and I have incredible directors in my mental health
Sure.
services that can do that. So, yeah.
What does it cost? So you get $290 or whatever reimbursed, but what does it cost per day in reality?
I mean, mostly it's salary. It's lactation. That's I just had a baby. That's where my
Exactly. Totally.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's mostly with licensed addiction counselors. So looking at pay rates of that and being able to sustain employees to run groups and therapy. But other than that, all the services are really built into our model. So it is just employment. Yeah. Last couple slides here, and interrupting with questions, please. Partnering organizations, I'm really proud of this. We just don't say no. There's always opportunity to learn from other organizations and provide resources to them as well. But in Missoula, I think with all the philanthropy that exists, thankfully, we have to be careful not to duplicate, right? So I take a lot of pride in making sure if someone's offering something, great, how do we get them to our campus versus us redoing that and using public funds to make the same service. Why I think this is so important is people, leadership at the YWCA, Jen Ewell has reached out and said, we need to get families out of here, out of the Meadowlark faster. So how do we play into helping you with your finances? So we're exploring the idea of them but securing 5 rooms on our new campus that they would pay a monthly rate towards. And then it's those 5 rooms that always take Meadowlark families. So it's organizations coming together to serve and lengthen that continuity of care for our families. Last one, sorry, Annie, one more slide. That's awesome. This is just, again, me saying, please help. These are real families. These are real pictures of real families. These are our current residents. We're excited. Right now is the time to step up. We know there's a lot going on in our community, but we know housing is a huge issue. We know childcare is a huge issue, and we know substance use is a huge issue. So we're ready to reduce that on a big level. I always love this the Harvard Business School of
Yeah,
Oregon.
I was gonna ask, what year is that stat?
That was 2017. So I would imagine, I don't know how much the pandemic affected that, but I would think it would have gone up. So I wish I could give you a more accurate, but probably closer to 10 than 7. So that's pretty neat. Yeah.
And then what you said about Meadowlark, so
Mhm.
help me remember, is Meadowlark also for, is it just women and children?
No,
Or
it
this-
is. It's families.
Just
Yeah.
families.
And that's something I think Mountain Home is open to in the future, is just talk about, because we would have that second building on this campus.
Oh, it's a separate building.
That we could look into having partners available to do that. We know with substance use, if you're only healing one of the partners, you're
right.
just back to where you started. So we are gonna explore that. In the next 3 to 5 years, we have enough numbers with single moms to meet that for now. But that's why we love working with Families First and working with the Y and saying, like, where are these other spaces? Crosswinds has reached out to us too, to say,
Great.
we can hold on to those men, but have space, bring them to Mountain Home so they're with their child and with their partner. Yeah. Questions, ideas, concerns?
I mean, how can we help?
I mean, really, just being able, like, if something pops into your head when you're out talking to folks and you can make the connection with me, that would be phenomenal. I'm always blown away with just how one conversation opens 4 doors, right? And that's our motto. We're trying to open more doors for these families. So if you hear of opportunities coming through state funding, if you hear private donors, if you can think of an event that my voice would be heard at, I would love those opportunities.
Have you had a chat with our health department?
Not specific to this. No, throughout the years. And we're partnering with them
Great.
too. But yeah.
Just- Good idea, just to be in good contact with
Mhm.
Damien, who runs Barnett, who runs our health department. Just let him know this is out there, because they're deeply involved in that grant
Yeah.
world and state money world and all of that.
Perfect.
I'm sure tons of crossover with some of their programming, and say the same thing with PHC.
Yep.
If you haven't had a good chat with Lara.
Yes, we have, and we're helping them with their childcare center, so that's
Great.
great. But I think, public health has always been wonderful with Mountain Home and coming over and doing home visits and vaccines and things like that. So
Yeah.
I think I should go knock again and say,
Sure.
we have more doors now.
Yeah, how
So,
exciting.
yeah,
Oh, this was great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steph.
thank you. Thank
The
you for all
only
your
other
support.
thing I just want to add is that Steph and Laura Snyder recruited 16 people to the campaign committee who are going to be helping with fundraising. So there's a huge,
Wow. that's
Chelsea
big.
Bodnar, Tom Severson, bunch
Wow.
of local Missoula business owners, so I think there's momentum. We just need to because the goal is to raise the money by July next year and then start construction in July and have people
Wow.
in the first quarter of 2025,
Wow.
which is a really fast timeline.
It is.
But
We need
Steph has already raised 40%, so
That's amazing.
on maternity.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Who says no to a woman with a baby, right? Like show us a meeting.
Oh.
Yeah, no, but we just know the sooner we get the money raised, the sooner we get these families in. So that's our motivation right
When did it close?
now. August of last year, so rounding on a year.
Oh, okay, so it's been a year with no one in there.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's in our inspection, it was just stellar. They have taken
That's awesome.
such great care of
That's
this
so great
building.
to hear.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
The bones are amazing. The renovations, we're just anticipating about 2.5, and that's us. And I'm so thankful for Keegan, who's leading the charges on this, but we want to give ourselves a buffer. So if we find something we really need, throw in another kitchen, we will. But it's really like superficial renovations,
That's
just to
great
make
to
it
hear.
feel less clinical and more of a home.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
work.
you. Thanks for letting us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Storm
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know if there's something else we can do.
Appreciate it.
Exciting.
Wow,
We're
well, that's it.
adjourned.
Wonderful.
Look at the
Okay.
efficiency. I'm so impressed how that goes.